right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Couple of Nukes. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Whiskey. For those of you just listening, not watching on YouTube, as you can kind of see, I've got some heart-shaped balloons floating through the sky behind me as a little tease for what we'll be talking about today, since most of y'all don't read the episode description anyway. I am here with Mr. Zach Schleien for talking about relationships and dating, especially for all my active duty military listeners out there. If you haven't made your, required mandatory military dating mistakes yet, you will. It's required to rank up at least one divorce, if not a DUI. But Mr. Zach, you have been successful in helping people find their special someone through a couple different means. Right now, FilterOff is your huge thing, but before that, I saw Top Romp and Hinge, so we'll get into that. But before we dive right in, we want to hear a little bit about you. So, Mr. Zach, please introduce yourself for us.
Yeah, first of all, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, I'm the CEO of FilterOff. It's a video speed dating app and matchmaking company. And our goal is to provide a fun and efficient way to find love and get off the dating apps.
Yeah, nowadays it seems to be like online dating is the big thing for the past few years here. And I like the idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, to be like all of y'all who have never heard of Filter Off, I actually didn't look it up. I didn't try or anything. So, Zach, I'm going to come at you with the questions like anyone else who's never heard of it. I know it's been very successful, but for those of us who haven't explored that option yet, we're really curious about it. I know the general concept is to get that authentic dating experience with that face to face. As far as I'm understanding, it's kind of like a speed dating video chat platform, so to speak. It kind of takes away that wall of text messages so we can actually interact with a person, correct?
Yeah, so on the general dating app, it's available on Android or iOS. If you match with someone, you set up a time to video chat. We also have a premium feature, very more exclusive, which is our matchmaking service, which pairs you with an elite matchmaker and dating coach who does all the vetting, curation, dating coaching, date
Wow.
coordination, all for you. So that's been really my primary focus.
Well, that's pretty awesome. So basically, this certified dating coach will sit down with you, kind of talk about what you're looking for, your personality, and then they're gonna go through the profiles on the app and find someone to partner you with. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. So you have your intake call to learn for your matchmaker to learn about you. They have around 13 years of matchmaking and dating coaching experience. And then after they learn about you, they'll look through our database, which is about 230,000, and
Wow.
find good fits for you. And they'll reach out on your behalf. And then they'll actually interview them to see if they're actually a good fit for you. And if they are, they will coordinate a video chat for you and that match. And the video chat's only 10 minutes long. So once you go on that video date, if you both like each other, you could keep chatting. And then at the end of the date, your matchmaker will actually ask you for feedback and your match for feedback. So they could share that feedback with you and it helps you become a better dater. So this is a really like all done for you sort of service.
Wow.
You don't have to go on like bad dates and realize two dates in, damn, we're not even aligned. And I could have known this if I had someone ask these questions.
Right. And that's pretty awesome. Before you were working with Filter Off, you actually wrote about some online dating tricks and best practices to do. So a lot of people feel very embarrassed or awkward being on video. So what are some of those tips and advice for this video dating? And if you're not using the premium feature, is there like a time limit on the video chat or is that as comfortable as you feel?
Yeah, so I'm just if you're not a matchmaking client, the video dates are 3 minutes long.
Okay.
Because they're obviously not vetted, and we don't want you to go on a video date for too long if it's not a good one. And basically, recommendations just have a good environment, like good, strong Wi-Fi connection. Your
Yeah.
surroundings are somewhat clean. You're looking at the camera. You're not like tons of space above your head. I mean,
Yeah.
listen, I think most of us are familiar with like Zoom and video features since the
Right.
pandemic. So at this point, I think it's actually kind of like, how do you not know how to do it? But
Right.
in terms of on the video date itself, just be curious, ask questions, um, ask them how they heard about the app, uh, yeah, where they're from, what they do, just simple questions and see if you vibe. And really that's the goal in the time date.
Right.
It's less about getting to know them because you're not going to know them in that short amount of time. Just it's more so do you guys vibe?
Yeah, well, I actually like the time limit, and I'll say for this reason, in case you get two people who don't know how to say goodbye or respectfully be like, this isn't working out, then you're just on the phone, or you get someone who's droning on and on. So I have to ask, have you used the app yourself, or are you in a relationship, or
Yeah, I've used the matchmaking service. I've met some wonderful people. It did not end up working out, but it was a
right,
great experience. I mean, to date, we've created now hundreds of marriages. So
that's
my focus is
awesome.
more on helping others, and yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with the service,
Okay.
my experience.
And I saw in your bio it said that you were in charge or wrote for the Hinge subreddit. And I was curious what that was because I've really liked Hinge, has been personally my favorite dating app. And I saw so you were in charge of writing the subreddit for that, or can you explain a little more on that?
Yeah. When Hinge was a pretty small dating app, I created their subreddit. So I never worked for Hinge, not
Okay.
affiliated with Hinge. But I
Okay.
created their subreddit and I grew it to like 40,000 people. So
Wow.
if you look up Hinge's subreddit, it was the one that I created.
Wow, you were just doing a free promotion. You were like, I need some more matches. I need some more like options on this app. Is that why were you using it or
No, it was just I was really fascinated with the space. I was running a dating blog at
okay.
the time called Top Romp, which you mentioned, which reviews dating apps and hacks. And I just wanted to contribute to the space and help singles. And I created Hinge's subreddit for people to review profiles and things of that nature. Just one thing that I've noticed with dating apps, it's like their Hinge is great. However, you still have the same problem, which is like as a man,
Right.
you're spending lots of time swiping or browsing, and as a woman, you're getting lots of matches, and you have no idea if they're good fits or not. And
Right.
so there's a fundamental issue with dating apps, and that's why we got into video and now layered with match.
Yeah, the reason I was more for Hinge than Tinder per se was that it seemed like it was more genuine and personality based because a lot of people would have several prompts they answered, where Tinder is mostly, and I haven't been on it in a few years, so I'm not sure, but I know it was just kind of like write your own bio, and then you would, at least from what I experienced, was you would have women just copy and pasting the same pickup lines or not having a bio or this and that, and so it was really a lot of just picture swiping, where with Hinge, you kind of got into that deeper layer. And same with Bumble. Originally, my problem with Bumble was the time limit was about 1 day. I know they've changed it to about 3 days, I believe, but it was like you could match with someone and then they just never responded. Not because they weren't interested, just because our lives get busy, right? I mean, a lot can happen in a single day. But I had like the idea of the women making the first move. So long as the women want to actually make the first move. So I've seen a lot of, and there's a lot of dating apps coming out now, but none so far where you have that video experience where you can actually talk and, like you said, had that vibe check where you're like, all right, how are we reacting? And again, both people might be super, super awkward. And that's the beauty of it. It's like we're both embarrassed. And it's always going to be like that. Even if you've been on a dating app texting someone, I know it's always like the first FaceTime or in-person date is still awkward because it's like you've been texting, right? But you have that wall between you. So this really removes that. But Mr. Zach, where does this passion for helping others, for being the real life human Cupid come from? Because you keep talking about you like helping others and singles. Where did this stem from?
Yeah, I think I've always liked human connection. Before running this dating app, I used to run a mental health community called
Oh,
18%. It was like the largest mental health community on Slack. We had close to like 20,000 members. We partnered with a crisis
wow.
text line. So yeah, I think I've always liked human connection. Sometimes, right? Like you feel disconnected and uh the best way of creating connection is with others. So, and especially with good fits. So that's kind of, I guess, my mission or life's purpose at the moment, or to date since I've been on this
Mm.
planet. So
And to date being a play on words intentionally, to date, uh, or not to date, that is the question. Do you have any advice for the people listening about after you've made that initial video call and they're moving into the, hey, we think we want to meet up stage? How should we go about that first date? Just like for anyone here who's never been on a date, or for the people who are getting back into it and they're like, man, it's been a while since I've been on a date and now it's everything's different, you know?
yeah, I mean, I would keep texting to a minimum, texting more so to logistics versus getting to know someone.
Okay.
Go on the video date as quickly as possible. Obviously, be smart about it. Like women, they have to oftentimes, right? They have to get ready for a date, even a video date. So maybe it's just a day out at least. Um, and then after the video date, if it goes well, what let's say you're on FilterOff and you go on one of our time dates, like just suggest hopping back on a longer video date and then seeing how that goes. And then after the video date, exchange numbers and uh, plan a date within a few days to keep the momentum alive. And again, just use texting more so for logistics than getting to know them, and keep it to a minimum once the date's scheduled. And then after that date, see how that goes, and then schedule another date if you're into them.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like I told you when I requested you to come on the show, the military is infamous for the dating, and because the localized area is always either other military members or people who know it's military. You know, I've had people come on my show and they were like, we would go to the bar and the women would just come up to us and be like, what rank are you? That's how you know you're in a bad area. But Mr. Zach, so is this like other dating apps where you can set preference for age or for distance? Like how far can we reach out to someone?
Yeah. So filter off the dating app itself. Yep. You can set all your preferences. You can add prompts, age, gender, uh, radius. And then when you work with your matchmaker, same sort of thing. We've had clients that say 50% of the people I would like you to reach out to are in my area, then 50% you could do anywhere. So when you work with a matchmaker, it's even more the capability to kind of get more nitpicky
Right.
is broader. And then they also have the ability to reach out to anyone in the database. That's really the beauty. Because when you're using a dating app, you're not sure if they've been online recently. The beauty when you work with a matchmaker is they text them, so it gets right to their phone. So you kind of skip the line, the dating queue. So yeah, it's quite broad in terms of capability.
Okay, and it's the same kind of thing where you're going through profiles and you're liking, and both of you need a match in order to set up the video call.
Yeah, so on the dating app itself, if you like someone, you comment as well, and then they like you back. You set up a time to video chat, and you basically have 5 days until it expires.
Okay, yeah. See, I like that. Thank you for not the 24 hours. You know, I appreciate the
That's
five
so
days because that
silly.
gives us time to, like you said, get ready and arrange things, make it where it's not going to be other people walking through the background listening in, or you got a noisy environment. So that's awesome. And I like it filter off. I'm assuming that name comes from like, hey, we're FaceTiming, so there's no filter. With some of these photos, people are doing Photoshop or have filters on. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, 100%. And then a large issue on most dating apps now also is scammers. You don't know who's actually behind them. That's the
Mm,
beauty of video, but that's also the beauty of having a matchmaker is they're actually going to interview this person. So they can tell easily if it's a scam or not, because the scammer will never go on video. Um, and scamming is a major issue in the online dating industry. And
it really is.
yeah, so we kind of suss that all out.
Yeah, I gotta say that's actually the best part about it because I've been on plenty of dating apps where it's like you said, those scammers where it's like they're just and you can kind of tell, but with all the new growing technology is getting harder and harder now, especially with the AI technology. It's like you're talking to a real person and it's not.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're trying to accuse you of this or ask for money for that or whatever. So this is great. And I like that you get that video experience to kind of eliminate that. Because like you said, a scammer is not going to go on video, so that's perfect. Actually, my favorite part about this is the matchmaking because like you said, that's so personalized and you get that perfect someone almost. And like you said, being able to have them interview them first and then getting that feedback, I think is great too, because even if it doesn't work out with that person, maybe it was like, well, now you know what you need to work on. If it was something more generalized, like, hey, like the whatever you brought up or the way you talk, this or that, or it could be more specific to like, hey, this person just doesn't feel this way or that. It's great that you get that feedback. Now, if you're a premium member and you have that matchmaking service, is it an additional charge if the matchmaker has to get me more than one match, or is it like, hey, you paid for the premium account, so they're with you until you get that special someone?
Yeah, so the beauty of our matchmaking service versus others, we don't charge per date. So you get a
Okay.
package, let's say 3 months or 6 month package, and it's unlimited dates. However, we won't send you anyone if they're not good quality.
Right.
So on some matchmaking services, on some, you charge per date and they give
Right.
quota. And sometimes they need to hit that quota. So they'll just give you anyone to hit the quota.
Right.
So I think when you do that, incentives are not aligned. So that's why we have unlimited. We also don't do blind dates. Many matchmaking services do blind dates to waste your time to go to a bar or a restaurant, meet someone on a blind date, and you may know 30 seconds in you don't want to be there. That's a massive
Mm.
waste of your time. So that's why we don't do blind dates. And it's only a 10-minute video date. So there's nothing to lose. So I developed this matchmaking service to really be aligned with incentives of just a regular dater. And then we give you a elite matchmaker with over 11 years, 12 years of matchmaking experience. So someone who knows what they're doing.
Right. And now I want to say for our older audience out there, is this something very tech friendly, user friendly, where maybe people after a divorce or someone passed away and they're looking to get back out there? This is something where they can easily get online or on their phone and it's simple to use, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very simple. Uh, they could apply for a call if they go to our website, getfilteroff.com, or they could even apply in the app. And there's a matchmaker elite tab on the top of our website, and they just apply for a call. And yeah, many of our clientele are people who have lost a loved one or divorced. I mean, it's often for busy professionals. It's for people that are like sick and tired of being on dating apps. They just
Right,
want someone to do it for them, and they want to stop going on these bad first dates because they don't. They're not going to be able to interview them before the date. That's kind of the whole point of the date is to like kind
right.
of figure out if you're aligned. So that's why they hire a matchmaker to do all the work for them.
Awesome. That is awesome. Now, where do you see the future of the app going do you see it expanding anywhere or is it like you think it's at its perfect state? Any kind of collaborations or events or anything in the future that you see?
Yeah, I mean, we have clients all around the country. We have some clients outside the United States. I mean, it's just continuously building our brands and becoming a well-known matchmaking service throughout the country and providing great quality. So hiring very experienced matchmakers and giving a lot of support to our clients. So, like for example, we do every month you're entitled to two one-on-one coaching calls every month.
Oh, wow.
You can message your matchmaker whenever you want, and they'll respond within working hours. So we don't communication is very important. Every other week we do group coaching calls. Like so we give you a lot of support to also make you a better dater. So I think it's just continuously growing our clientele. Obviously, as we grow our clientele, we have to hire more matchmakers. So yeah, just becoming a very formidable matchmaking service.
Wow, that's awesome. I love how involved y'all are with our journey, where it's like this isn't just a money grab. This is we're here to help you find that someone, right? Because y'all are coming to us to find someone and we're going to help you. And so my last question then would be, let's say I'm someone I'm like, especially with people in the military where I know I'm going to move, let's say to Japan in the next few months, can my matchmaker access that? Even I could be like, hey, I'm moving to Japan in Yokosuka, and I really like to find a local Japanese woman in the Yokosuka area or something like a situation like that. Is that something they're capable of doing as well?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, just communicate with your matchmaker to say, hey, listen, I'm in the military, I move a lot. So I would only want to be with someone who is okay with that. So the matchmaker would communicate that during the interviews. And if someone on the interview seems like a great fit, but they say, listen, I'm not willing to move a lot, your matchmaker won't send that
That's
person your way.
perfect.
That's really the beauty. So you don't have to go on that first date where you met them on a Hinge and then realize this person will never move. Like I just wasted 3 hours of my life on the date texting and I paid for dinner. So, but
Yeah,
your
I've had that too.
matchmaker could figure that out right away. So yeah, it's a lot of it's just communication with your matchmaker, setting expectations, and they will say that and share that with the your potential matches.
That's great. That's a huge time saver. I've definitely seen it happen before where it's like, oh, you're in the military, like this is changing, or people won't be upfront about how they feel politically or religion wise, or
Yep.
even just about moving, future plans, careers, college. So I like that you get this kind of you get all those kind of interview like those filter questions out, and you don't even have to do that part. You have your matchmaker doing it, and so you can focus on whatever else you need to in life. So to sum it up, filter off is time efficient, a more genuine connection, and super user friendly and made for us. So I really wish this existed a couple of years ago when I was in my online dating phase where I was swiping left and right and trying this and that and this and that. I like how customizable this is, which is why actually I remember I had always used Tinder and Bumble and Hinge, and then there was Coffee Meets Bagel and My Boo and all these different apps. There's hundreds of them. And the reason I was like, you know what, let's try eHarmony because it's so customized where you fill out. I mean, it took me an hour and a half to do the introduction survey, and then they were like, $300. I was like, well, I don't know if I want to do that. And so I pushed it off and I was like, well, I wish there was something where you can have that connection, like you're saying, where it's really customizable because you can always put age preference, distance preference, and then it's like, oh, we ran out of options in your area. So now we've expanded your settings and you don't know what that means. And then you're just getting any person they can show you because they want you to use the app. So I really like this matchmaking part of it, even more than the video part of it. I mean, I love the idea of the video, right, to prevent the scamming, to get that genuine connection. But this matchmaking service, I think that would help a lot of people out. Especially, I really encourage all the young adults listening, because otherwise you'll learn this the hard way. Like, I didn't realize how many things I need to be upfront about because I've gotten invested into relationships and then I find out later down the road, like, I never asked this question that I should have, like these deal breaker questions, because you can love someone, but if your paths in life aren't aligned at all and you both have to compromise or one person has to give up everything, it's a lot nicer to know that ahead of time. So I encourage y'all to get the matchmaking service, pay that little bit of change to save you headaches, heartache, and a lot of money. Dates are expensive. Food is expensive. Like for two people to get dinner nowadays, it's like $50, $60 at least. So but yeah, Zach, thank you so much for helping develop this app. And I love that you're passionate and committed to helping people and you're not, just money hungry, just making another software to throw out there for people to spend money on, but to actually get that genuine connection and find someone. So before we close off here, is there anything you'd like to share? Any advice or stories or anything related to this?
Yeah, I would just recommend whether or not you use filter off, I'd recommend going on video dates. Don't waste your time texting back and forth. But if you are very serious about finding someone and you're just kind of sick of modern dating, I would highly recommend bringing on hiring a matchmaker. So take a look at Filter Off's matchmaking service, and you can find that on our website.
Awesome. Yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, I'll have that in the description below so y'all can just go right there, check it out and see what it's about. Well, Zach, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this. And hopefully we've helped a bunch of people out there discover something new and someone new.
Thanks so much for having me.
Sailing through the ocean blue, nuclear reactors my crew, guiding the ship, the stars as our guide, through the waves we ride, jokes and laughter fill the air. On this voyage we have to share, working together, side by side, as one family we will abide. In the heart of the ship we reside, nuclear operators with pride, powering the vessel with every stride. Our mission, a source of great pride.